So today I want to talk to you about a country I absolutely loved, and it feels appropriate because the UK is currently experiencing a heat wave and I don't like it. I don't like the summer. I don't like heat. So I'm going to talk to you today about Iceland. Now, Iceland, first and foremost, is expensive. It's pricey to get to. Pricey to be out there. It's not necessarily pricey to get to. EasyJet fly there from London. Obviously, if you're coming from somewhere else, it's a little bit more difficult. But well worth the visit if you budget. Now, just to put it into perspective, I went to Iceland for 4 days. Flights, hotels, food, spending money, tours, everything all in cost me about £1,000, and this is back in 2018. I went to Japan for twice as long and spent half as much. So just something to keep in mind. It's well worth a visit, but as is the case with these Scandinavian and Nordic countries, it is very expensive when you're out there, so be warned. Now, some of the key sites to see. The first thing that's going to come up is the Blue Lagoon. Now, the actual attraction itself is obviously man-made, but it is naturally fed by a geothermal. It's a natural geothermal spa. So there's so much volcanic activity in Iceland. That's what makes all these wonderful hot springs. The Blue Lagoon, in particular, is very rich in things like silica, and you can do a silica face mask when you're there. You'll see pictures of people with white stuff on their face, and it's got loads of minerals in, as do all these geothermal spas. They're really, really rich in minerals, and they're great for the skin, so they're well worth going to. That's why they're all made into some sort of spa resort. And because Iceland as a whole is very volcanic, they are everywhere. You can go all over and you will find some kind of natural hot spring. I mean, there's even, I think I went to like a lake. I think it was a lake, I don't think it was the ocean, but obviously the further out you got, the colder it became, but really close in, it was really warm. And what they do, because it's so warm, is they dig down into the sand on the coast and they put a pot of bread dough in, and that's how they cook their rye bread. Rye bread is something very popular in Iceland, and it's very delicious. It's quite dense, but it's really yummy. So you don't have to go to the Blue Lagoon. You can go to 100 other different ones, but the Blue Lagoon is so popular because of how easy it is to get to. If you look at a map of Iceland, it basically looks like there's one road that goes all the way around the country. If you look at where the airport is, Reykjavik Airport, and where the Blue Lagoon is, it's one road. It's straight. You could walk there. It's 13 miles, but you could walk there. It's just straight down. So it's so popular because of how easy it is to get to. But obviously you have to pay for these sorts of things. The Blue Lagoon in particular has loads of different package options that you can choose from. Again, they are pricey, and I think if you went to one that was further out, it would be less expensive. And obviously if you were to find a hidden gem, or just go down to a lake that happens to be warm, that's going to be free. So that's a good starting point, good starter activity for visiting Iceland. Another one that is very popular to do when people are out there is the Golden Circle. So it's a trio of signs, very popular. I really recommend it's one of the most beautiful countries I've seen, and there's just so much dramatic scenery formed over millions of years with all the volcanic activity. And I mean, you'll see on the news when there's always a volcano erupting, and it's just breathtaking how beautiful Iceland is. And the Golden Circle highlights a lot of that beauty simply by just driving through it to get to each site. I could look out the window all day and just see the landscape of Iceland unfold. But the Golden Circle tour focuses on three things in particular. The first one, I apologise, I'm going to butcher this, is the Thingvellir National Park. Now, this is the best place to go. So it's where two tectonic plates meet. I believe it's the North American and the Eurasian tectonic plates meet, which doesn't sound very interesting. However, there is a company called Dive Sulfra, and where these two plates meet, there is a small crack in the earth, and you can swim between the two of them. You can snorkel, you can scuba dive. I'm not licensed to scuba dive, so I went with the snorkel option, and it was absolutely fantastic. I think it's the best thing I've ever done. One of the best things I've ever done when on holiday. It's absolutely stunning. It's the clearest waters I've ever seen, and I think is often disputed. I mean, there's a few places, but it's like some of the clearest waters on earth. It's absolutely incredible. And I went in October. It's very cold, but they do give you all the equipment that you need: wetsuit, dry suit, stuff for your hands. They give you the snorkel, so everything's included. You even get a hot chocolate and a biscuit at the end. But it is going to be cold, so do have warm clothing if you're going in winter, and I would bring a spare change of clothes as well, just in case. But it's absolutely incredible. I've never experienced anything like it. I may well never do again, though I will probably go back to Iceland one day and I will absolutely do this. But it was phenomenal. It's so incredible. So absolutely do that. If you don't want to do the whole Golden Circle tour, make sure you do that at the very least. Another stop on the tour is going to the famous geysers. You'll see images on Google of this water being shot out of the earth, and that's what a geyser is. It's basically it. So you'll go to this expanse of land, and as you're walking along, it is going to smell a bit sulphury. That is something that is quite common amongst all of Iceland. That's just what comes with the territory. But you're walking along and you'll see little pools of water, and sometimes some little pools of mud, and they're bubbling. They're just sort of boiling on the surface. Don't touch it. It is scalding hot. If you couldn't work it out, really, really hot. So do be careful when you're walking around. You don't want to accidentally fall over into something. And if you're going with kids, keep them close, because you're out in the open. Mother Nature's doing her thing, so they could easily run off and get seriously injured. So do be mindful of that. But as you're walking through, you've got, some little ones bubbling away, and then you come to the centre, the main focal point of the attraction, and I forget the name and I can't pronounce it anyway, but it is a big puddle effectively, and every 5 to 10 minutes it starts bubbling, and you see the earth almost look like it's breathing, and then it gets bigger and bigger, and then it shoots out and it jets up like 15 meters into the sky. There is a rope around it that keeps you away from you're not going to get injured there, but it is literally just a bit of rope. So again, if you have children, do keep them close. And the other stop on the Golden Circle tour, typically, there are variations and you can do other things, and I will come to those in a minute. But the other main site is a massive, massive waterfall called Gullfoss. Now, Iceland is covered in waterfalls, and they're all incredible and they're all amazing. I went to one, I'll insert the picture. You could walk behind the water, and it's like an ethereal experience. I don't know how to explain it. It's so often you're looking at the water, you're not looking through it. So to be sort of in the earth looking out it's really quite magical. And those sorts of things are all over Iceland. I don't think you could go more than about 15 minutes without seeing some kind of waterfall. But if you only have time for one, the big one is Gullfoss. So it's this incredible kind of two-tiered waterfall, and it drops down, so you kind of look down onto the tiers, and then it drops down like 30 odd meters into a canyon, and then the water drifts away. And there's obviously water spray coming off, but you can feel how powerful this is. It is an incredible sight. Nature really outdid itself here. It's just, there's like a magnitude about it that you can really sense, and they've really done it well. There's wooden platform all around, so you can walk up, you can get different angles, and it's a whole site. Iceland's really tapped into its natural beauty and made it a commercial commodity, but it's so impressive and it's beautiful. And obviously, if you're getting on a sunny day, the sun's hitting the water just right, a little rainbow forms. It's absolutely stunning. So if you only have time for one waterfall, that's the one to go to. Honestly, it kind of changes what you think of waterfalls. You've got things like Niagara, which is kind of like a bowl, and all the water goes down. You've got Angel Falls in Venezuela, and that's just a really big single drop. When you think of waterfalls, I don't know, I only ever think of one stream of water coming down. So the fact that this is this like leveled waterfall, I really liked it. So those are the main sites. If you're short on time, definitely do some kind of hot spring and the Golden Circle tour. But if you are there for longer, there are some other things that are worth doing. So there are several craters all over Iceland, again formed through various different volcanic activity. I'm sure I'm not the best geographer in the world, so I don't know the science behind it. I went to one called Kerio. It's probably not the right pronunciation, but Kerio nonetheless. And it's stunning. It's got like this vibrant red rock. So it's this big crater. It's full of water now, and all around it you can walk the whole circumference of it. Again, it's made tourist friendly because it's got paving all around and stairs and stuff. It's massive, and I think they've worked out it's about 6,500 years old. It's 55 meters deep, 170 meters wide, and 270 meters across. So it's massive, it's absolutely massive. And I don't know, there's nothing there, right? There's no like coffee shop, there's no like activity, you don't bungee jump into it or anything like that, but to just sit and take in Mother Nature and the scale of it was really quite peaceful, Another one that's quite popular, or another site that's quite popular, I should say, is going to the Black Sandy Beach. It's called Reynisfjara. I don't think that's right, but I'll put the spelling up. And again, a lot of volcanic activity has gone on here. That is why the sand is black. And you'll also recognise it looks very similar to the Giant's Causeway, which, as I've said in a previous video, was caused by volcanic activity and lava coming out and drying, I suppose, the cooling down, that's the phrase. And it forms these kind of hexagonal blocks. So I'm just going to call it the Black Sandy Beach. I can't pronounce the proper name, but the Black Sandy Beach. So there's pillars of these hexagonal rocks. You did used to be able to go up them. I think they've stopped that now because it's kind of ruining it, and it's dangerous, let's be realistic. So they've got these massive pillars of these volcanic rocks, and the sand is absolutely black. It's not camera trickery, it's not clever lighting, it's black sand. And I wish I'd taken some in like a little vial, because I've not been anywhere else that has something like it. It's really cool, and I think there's a tourist centre there, so you can get lunch and stuff. But something to be mindful of is this beach in particular, and there are warning signs, but obviously they're not going to babysit you. You are responsible for babysitting yourself. They have something called sneaker waves, so you can be on the beach, and as the clues in the name, these waves sneak up on you, and they're really powerful, they're really strong, and tourists have been dragged into the ocean and lost their lives, sadly. So you do need to have your wits about you, and I actually think there might be an age limit for kids. Like, I'm not sure little ones are allowed on the beach, or they have to be, you need like a baby carrier or something for them. I think one too many tragedies has happened, and they've put more things in place, especially since I went in 2018, so you do need to be careful. And to be honest, all of Iceland, you need to be careful. It's a beautiful country, it's an incredibly safe country, but Mother Nature is ruthless, and you've got dramatic landscapes, you've got cliffs, you've got waterfalls, you've got erupting volcanoes, you've got dangerous beaches. You have to be conscious and respectful of how powerful nature can be, and if you are, you'll have a great experience. If you're not, you might end up getting hurt, so do keep that in mind. And of course, you can't talk about Iceland without mentioning the Northern Lights. Now, I personally didn't find them that interesting. If you Google images of the Northern Lights, they look incredible. They look absolutely amazing. The camera picks up a lot more than the naked eye. A few years ago, the UK actually experienced, I can't remember why, I don't know what was going on, but basically the Northern Lights were visible in the UK. You can quite often see them up in, the Outer Hebrides and very northern Scotland, but I live down south, I live near London, and we were able to see them down where I am. My family are farmers on my mum's side, so I raced out because I saw these pictures being put up going, oh, I can see the Northern Lights from my window, so I ran down to the farm where there's no light pollution, and you can see kind of a murky cloud in the sky that's got a bit of a hue of colour to it, but the picture comes out way better, and I'll put the picture that I took of them down here, and it does look amazing, but it doesn't look like that to the naked eye. And I found the same in Iceland. I was really excited to see them, thinking it was going to be these crazy flashes of light dancing across the sky and just looking amazing, and they weren't. It was the same thing. It was like a murky cloud. And I've had people in the past go, oh, maybe you weren't there on a good day, maybe it was cloudy, maybe the weather wasn't right. No, the day I went, even the guide said this is one of the best conditions we could ever hope for on a Northern Lights tour. And when they saw them, they were going, oh, this is some of the best visuals we've had in a long time. But I didn't know what all the fuss was about. Obviously the picture I have looks way better than it did in reality. So if you get the chance to see them, great. I wouldn't spend all your money trying to see them. If you happen to do it by fluke, brilliant. And of course with Northern Lights tours, it's different. If you have a car, you can drive yourself out and see if you can see them. If you're paying for a tour, they're very upfront about the fact that you may not see them and you won't get your money back. Okay, Mother Nature's on her own timeline, so I was very lucky. And I think every hotel has a Northern Lights forecast of, you know, your chances of visibility and how good it's going to be, all that stuff, what the weather's like and how that's going to impact your viewing. So you can make an informed decision when you're out there about if you want to book something to see them or not. But as I say, if you have a car, you can just go out, drive 20 minutes out of Reykjavik city if that's where you're staying, and, you know, no light pollution, you'll be fine. But something worth mentioning actually as well is I didn't have a car when I was out there. I booked group tours for every event, so going to the Black Sandy Beach, doing the Golden Circle, going to see the Northern Lights, they were all individual group tours, and they're brilliant. They are so well organised. So I think the reason it came about is, particularly when it's winter, the roads, as I say, it's like one road round, and if you don't know where you're going, what you're doing, or you're experienced in driving in those kinds of conditions, you can get really disorientated. And Iceland knows this, which is why they have all these group tours available. And there are hundreds to choose from, and virtually all of them will pick you up from your hotel. When you book them, they have a list of hotels that they pick you up from. If you're not on the list, there'll be a hotel nearby that you can go to and get collected from instead. It's really well organised, they know what they're doing, and they drop you off back where you started as well. So if you're booked in a Hilton, they'll pick you up from there, they'll drop you off there. You basically have to work out what your nearest stop is if your hotel isn't on the list, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find your hotel not on there. If you're in like a small boutique one, maybe a bit further out of the city, then maybe not. But if you're in Reykjavik itself, if one tour doesn't have your hotel on the list, another one will. They're really good, really well organised, and kind of worth the money because it just takes the stress of it out. Just get on the bus, they take you there, they tell you how long you've got there, you come back. You don't have to think